ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
Hello everyone, you have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me is Cheryl D'Souza, and in the next 1 hour, viewers, we're going to be taking all your stock queries, and today on the Buy Now, Sell Now lens, we'll be focusing on the healthcare, the pharma and the diagnostic stocks as well. So let's get started, but before coming to that, let's have a look at what the markets are up to. So Cheryl, it's a weekly expiry, but once again seems like the COVID fever is on the markets. Bank Nifty as well as Nifty, both at today's day's low point.
Absolutely. I'm not quite sure if you want to attribute this to the COVID fever as yet, but definitely something is spooking the markets. And as you can see, we are at the day's lowest point as of now. If you look at Nifty, it has lost over 200 points, or approximately 200 points from the day's highest point. You also have Nifty Bank that slipped over 500 points from the day's high. PSU Bank Index has slid over 3% from the day's highest point. And remember, there has just been less than 2 hours since the markets have actually kick-started for trade. So yes, a lot of pressure coming in, especially on the banking names. Not only PSU banking names, even private sector bank, be it Axis Bank. You can see a sharp downtick coming in on Axis Bank. ICICI Bank is now at the day's lowest point. Even IndusInd Bank is also down in trade today. The smaller mid-tier banks also taking the larger cuts. So you have UCO Bank, IOB, all of them down in trade. Bank of India as well, that is under pressure in today's trading session. Fertilizer stocks in particular, all of them are seeing a sharp knock, be it FACT or even Madras Fertilizers or National Fertilizers. All of them are seeing a sharp cut. Deepak Fertilizer on your screen, 9% downtick coming in for Deepak Fertilizers. Let's take a look at individual sectors right now. Like even Shrishti mentioned, Nifty Bank is also under pressure in trade today. About 0.6% downtick coming in for the Nifty Bank as well. A few handful of stocks that are actually still bucking the trend, and you could say the defensives are actually trying to hold the fort today. So you could say this, the pharma sector, still some of the large caps are trying to see some sort of a strength. So Sun Pharma is the one that is seeing some sort of a green tick right now. Cipla barely in the positive territory, but Infosys, Kotak Mahindra Bank is also holding on to good gains. BPCL is the top loser on the Nifty as we speak, 2.5% downtick coming in for BPCL. Bajaj Finserv also down. UPL, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, all of them seeing cuts of excess of about 2%. Let me talk about sectoral indices, and in the sectoral indices, you have almost all the sectors that are in the negative territory, barring the IT index, which is just holding on to marginal gains. Broader markets taking sharper cuts. The small cap index is down about 2.5%. But like you mentioned, Shrishti, we are going to put the spotlight this time on the entire healthcare space, be it the pharma names, be it the diagnostic stocks, even the hospital stocks.
Well, yes, absolutely. And with this, let's let's make our viewers listen to what ET Now's managing editor Nikunj Dalmia's take on pharma space.
Pharma does well when they have a serious amount of pricing power, or when you have something happening in the world. Unfortunately, it may sound, but pharma stocks did rather well when we were at the peak of the COVID. Yes, there are Indian pharma companies which will benefit if the COVID spread increases, but there is no guarantee that the COVID spread would increase. It's too early to assume that just because the numbers in China are going higher, the demand for the COVID portfolio for pharma companies will come higher. Yes, pharma is a beaten down sector, but I think it's outright silly to assume that because of the COVID news, the diagnostic companies will get more business and pharma companies will go back to the glory days of and the margin advantage what they enjoyed in 2020 and 2021. So for me, that is a trade one should avoid. If at all, diagnostic stocks, will specifically talk about them also, but just to give you a glimpse, they are very expensive. The business is slowing down, they've corrected, and if you wanted to sell them, perhaps these are the times and these are the gap ups and these are the pop-ups when you actually should be exiting some of the diagnostic stocks. So don't be don't be naive, and I would request everybody here to buy into pharma and diagnostics just because they moved up yesterday and just because there is a COVID surge in China. I mean, let's hope that it does not come to India. But as of now, there's no evidence that business, because of this, is going to just, it's just going to take a leap forward.
And that's the take coming in from ET Now Swadesh's managing editor Nikunj Dalmia on the pharmaceutical space in particular. But Sharad is here to put the spotlight on the entire healthcare space. And Sharad, yesterday we saw a spectacular rally in all of those pharma names, diagnostic names, especially also some of the specialty chemical names like IOL Chemicals and Granules India. What is exactly driving this rally, and what does your analysis state?
Well, yes, if you see, the COVID scare in China actually spooked the Indian markets as well. But coincidentally, the European markets didn't react so much to it. Now, the important thing is that India has become alert, because of the rising cases coming from different countries. The news is coming in, but the government has also become very proactive, and they're looking at precautionary actions. And two important actions have come up over the last 48 hours. The first one being that government will focus on genome sequencing. This is for the testing of the positive variant. And apart from this, the second thing is there is a random sampling of screening has started for passengers in the international airports in India. Now, apart from this, let's look at the stocks which are in focus. And of course, yesterday Nifty Pharma Index jumped more than 2% up, and of course it was led by diagnostic stocks. And analysts feel that there might be testing capacities might be ramped up, but then in focus would be stocks such as Metropolis, Thyrocare Tech, Dr. Lal Path Labs, Vijaya Diagnostics, which would be in focus. Now, apart from this, there are API manufacturers also who make APIs to make tablets, and especially the demand is shooting up for ibuprofen as well as paracetamol. And there are three companies in this segment. The first one, of course, being IOL Chemical Pharma, Solara Active Pharma, and Granules India, where they are having their productions. Now, there's a huge raw material dependency also coming from China. So in case there is a supply chain issue, then these companies will have adverse impacts. But however, these companies currently do not sell products to China. So that is an important point to ponder upon. Of course, the oxygen theme is also there, where you have stocks such as Linde India and Everest Cantu Cylinders, which make cylinders to transport oxygen. And today's trade, you're seeing hospital stocks also coming into the rally. So that is something which you'll be watching out for. And an important update coming in from Nomura as well. They have stated that the prescription data which is required, especially for your demand for antivirals, and there are certain drugs such as Tamiflu, respiratory drugs. So this demand has shot up, and one of the best winners, you would say, or their top pick would be Lupin. And now let's talk about the valuations. That is something which is important. And the diagnostic stocks, if you see, the valuations have corrected between 20 to 40% from their peak levels, be it Metropolis, Thyrocare, Dr. Lal Path Labs. So there might be a value in it which analysts are speaking about. And if you see the pharma stock valuations also, they have also been beaten. But do remember, the entire pharma space still is plaguing with margin pressure as well.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Sharad, for putting all of that into context for all of our viewers out there as to what is exactly happening in the entire healthcare space, be it the pharmaceutical names, be it the diagnostic names, or even the hospital names. Let's put and I rather pose the question to our experts today that what should investors do? Should they look at pharma as a contra bet, time to relook at the diagnostic space and play the hospital themes once again? So let's bring on board Kunal Bothra as well as Shahina Mukaddam for us today. A very good morning to you, Shahina, as well as Kunal. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And Shahina, you heard the take coming in from Nikunj as well as Sharad on what exactly is happening in this pharma space. Do you think that it's time to look at healthcare space based only on this particular developing or evolving development when it comes to COVID-19 globally, or do you think that fundamentally also things are fine to look at them?
I think it's too early, as Nikunj put it, to take COVID as some instance where we should start looking at pharma because just COVID cases have increased in China reportedly. I think India, we still haven't seen that happen, and so it would be wrong to just jump in and buy pharma stocks based on expectation that COVID cases are going to rise substantially in India. Having said that, I think that pharma by itself has started looking interesting now. We saw that huge rally that happened after almost 5 years between 2015 and 2020. We saw the stocks rally between 2020 and 2021. And 22, we've seen a bit softening, but I think the fundamentals have now caught up. While for diagnostic stocks, I agree with Nikunj, the stock valuations are still expensive, especially for the largest, like Dr. Pathlabs. But at the same time, there would be the other two stocks that are smaller in size but look interesting. They've corrected in valuations. For the medium to longer term, they do look interesting. Hospitals by itself has started looking better because of other factors. India being, as you have the opening up trade happening, India being a destination for health, I would say for hospitalization and for medical treatment. I think stocks like Apollo and even for that example, Fortis, they have shown a definite resilience, increase in market share, also in terms of increasing beds, reducing their debt. So I think fundamentally these stocks have started looking better. And finally, the core pharma stocks, the large cap stocks, they have gone through a very difficult phase, but I think valuations have started looking quite decent now. Some pharma also valuations have started looking decent, but my top picks would still remain something like a Cipla, where the growth over the next 3 years is expected to be in the range of 18 to 20%. So if you see 1 year forward, 23 times is not expensive. So I would look at Cipla as my top pick, but there are other stocks that seem to be bottoming out, something like an Arvindo, Alembic. These also look interesting.
Thank you so much, Shahina, for helping with your fundamental take on the overall healthcare space, not just the diagnostics, even all the pharma counters and the other counters that are holding up in today's trading session. But Kunal, coming to you, yesterday, we were getting a lot of news regarding the COVID. We saw stellar move happening in majority of those diagnostic stocks specifically. Even some of the large cap pharma companies were holding up. Today also we are seeing the move continuing. Any particular counter making in on your charts? What's the take that you will bet on?
Good morning, everyone. So, first on the markets, and my belief is that, markets always have a tendency of finding a reason and an excuse to sell off. But, the markets have also this, very odd tendency and a habit that they don't react to the same news twice in a very similar kind of a fashion. So what happened in 2020, of course, was very brutal for the markets. But then yesterday's correction and attributing that to, maybe the probability that the resurgence of COVID could probably happen, I think that could be a bit of a far-fetched explanation. Prices needed to correct. We were going into a bit of a extreme kind of a scenario, and I think that's where the markets have gone to a bit of a correction mode. Now coming to the pharma stocks, my belief is that it always makes a lot of sense to stick to large cap names or even the ones which have been more stronger performers. Now, if you look at the basket of the pathology stocks, for example, the likes of Metropolis, Laurus Labs, these stocks have been big underperformers. But when you try and compare this with Dr. Lal Pathlabs, that stock has been a rank outperformer. And I think yesterday the stock managed to come back and break about the 200-day moving average as well, much before then the other peers from the group have. So I think it always makes sense to stick to large cap or the performing stocks. Lal Pathlabs would be the preferred pick from the pathology stocks, and from the larger cap pharma names, I would still go with Cipla and Sun Pharma as the more dominant and stronger bets.
Okay, so Cipla is one counter that both our analysts are liking, and other than that, from the diagnostic space, Dr. Lal Pathlab is making onto the stock pick for Kunal right now. But for viewers, this is all about the healthcare space. But with this, it's time to slip into a short break, but don't go anywhere. Coming right back and taking up more of your stock queries, so stay tuned.
Powered by ArcelorMittal.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and markets are definitely under pressure, especially broader markets are seeing heavier sell-off. And Shahina, given the fact the way how the markets have been reacting in the month of December, in the early start of December, we did see markets rally quite a bit, and I'm sure it kind of made all the investors pretty cheerful and were hopeful of a huge Santa rally this December, but that's not playing out as forecasted. So in this particular market scenario where there's lower volatility, what should one do to protect their wealth?
Well, there does seem to be some weakness that's come into the market, and I think it's more to do with maybe the valuations have now started looking stretched if you compare it to some of the other Asian peers. So to that extent, there is likelihood that the inflows of money will slow down. Also, I think it would be another 2-3 months before we see SIP start to pick up in a big way. So investors need to be careful, better to stick to large caps, and also to invest in phases rather than all go out and buy now, having seen the market correct a bit. I see that there is a bit more correction left in the market, and investors need to be cautious for the next 2 to 3 months.
Okay, that's the advice coming in for all the investors. Need to be cautious for the next 2 to 3 months. But let's move on and let's kickstart taking up all your stock queries. And Kunal, the first question is coming up for you. That's from Kaushik Mitra from Mumbai. He wants to know your take on TechM. He wants to know how the technical charts are panning out to be. He's holding that counter from quite some time now, from a levels of 1550. What will be the outlook?
So if you're expecting anything great to turn out in the short-term charts, I would think that you would be disappointed, because the short-term charts are still indicative that the stock may get into a time-wise correction. But the good part is that the major part of the price correction seems to be behind us. Now, TechM was one of those stocks which rallied up from 450, 400 levels to as much as 1800, and from 1800 the stock is almost at 1000 rupees. So which means that it's corrected more than 50% of the retracement for the entire rally from the 2020 lows. But then, as I said, that after such a kind of a steep rally, the stocks are bound to go into a time-wise correction. So I would not be surprised that if the stock consolidates at this 1000 mark, maybe plus or minus 50, 70 rupees, for the next 3-4 months. So if you're looking to average, wait out for a point where maybe the stock corrects to 950, 970 levels, or maybe another couple of months of consolidation. That could be a better time to try and buy TechM rather than at current levels.
All right. Quick programming note also for all of our viewers and for all of them who are tuning in and asking us for the experts to share top ideas, what should they buy for 2023, or if they have a particular lump sum amount, which are the counters to buy. I would request all of you all to tune in to the next week's episode of Buy Now Sell Now. Through the course of the week, we are going to talk to our experts to know which are the winners of 2022 and which are the counters that they think one should bet on in the year 2023. So the next week is where you will get all the top picks from all of our experts, both the technical side as well as fundamental side. And Kunal is definitely going to have a very tough one next week when he has to give a lot of bets for all of our viewers. But let me take this one to you then, Shaina, and I'll club two queries because they are of similar nature. One is from Manish Raju, where he's saying, he's asking, is it the time to start accumulating some very good fundamental and growth mid to small cap stocks on dips for the short term and the long term? And also, I have another query that's come in from Nino, who is asking that if the markets are correcting quite steeply right now for any other reason, is it time to invest for the long term? And if yes, then which are the stocks that one should look at?
As far as the small caps go, I think, while always small caps in the very long term give you a much better return than the large caps, I don't think today or in the next couple of weeks is the best time to start entering into small caps. I think we'd see better times because when the overall market corrects, the small caps, one, become illiquid, and two, they correct much faster and higher. So to that extent, I think the time for investing in small caps is still to come, and one needs to wait for a couple of weeks. On the large caps, I think, yes, there are stocks that one can buy, and that always you can keep in your long-term portfolio. And as you see any dip in these stocks, some of them being the large cap banking, something like an ICICI Bank, an Axis Bank, pharmaceuticals that we discussed, something like a Cipla, even an Arbindo or an Alembic, which seem to have corrected a lot, I think, and bottoming out. You have other sectors like the defense, where if you see any correction. So I think, there are a lot of large cap stocks where if we see correction that comes in with the overall market, which they do correct, including Reliance, I think these give you the opportunity to add for your long-term portfolio.
Okay, moving on to the next query, and Shahina, once again coming to you because you have been touching upon these pharma counters. Actually, Madhuri wants to take a fresh entry in Gland Pharma and Gufic Biosciences. What will be your take on this? Because for Gufic Biosciences, the stock has done absolutely nothing in the past 1 year, and for Gland Pharma, the stock is actually down from its listing price itself. What will be your take?
No, I would avoid Gland Pharma. It has actually, not really give you a decent return. It has actually corrected a lot from its highs, and I don't think still the time is to buy in because most of its raw materials they're still dependent on China, as well as I think to some extent there is changes in their management structure. So I think I would just wait.
All right. The next one that I have is coming in from Santi, and this one's for you, Kunal. Santi is holding NMDC about 1,320 shares for the last 10 years at a price of around 136 rupees per share. He wants to know when will the spin-off steel company stocks get credited, and also what's your prediction on this share price movement in the near term. I'm unsure if you will be able to talk about when the shares will be credited to the demat account, but what about the trajectory for NMDC?
So yes, you guessed it right. I wouldn't be able to discuss on the when the shares would be credited, but then on the stock price, I would be bullish on NMDC. I think what we've seen over the last couple of quarters for many of the PSU stocks as well as the PSU banking names, etc., that these stocks are going into a different kind of a breakout. NMDC surprisingly has been one of the better performers from the the commodity stocks as such, and I think the last 2 months. The stock has seen a good recovery from 80 rupees to almost 120, 125, where the stock took a bit of a resistance and now got into a corrective phase. But I think the charts are looking quite okay. We've bought at 130 plus levels, so I believe you can continue to hold on for some more time.
Okay, moving on. The next question is from Venkat Rao, and Shahina, his query is on one counter we don't discuss much about, that is dynamic products. He's been holding this counter for the past 7 years, sitting at good gains. He's a long-term investor. Do you track this company, and would you be able to advise him on this?
No, I didn't really get it. There's so many dynamic companies, dynamic tech, dynamic, so I'll pass this.
I can read about is that this company is the largest global manufacturer and exporter of food colors in the world. Do you track this one?
No, sorry.
Okay, Kunal, if just on the charts, because it's a cash, it's in the cash segment, would you be able to advise him?
So even I don't track the stock, apologies, Srishti won't be able to comment.
All right. Moving on, this one is coming from Natarajan Ramesh, and he is wondering if buying Bharat Forge at current market price is an advisable bet to take, and the time horizon is 2 years. Shahina, what's your take on this one?
You should wait for some dip while the longer term, medium to longer term is looking bullish. Maybe you should look at slightly lower levels. I would be happy if we can buy it somewhere close to about, say, 800 type of levels. The medium to long term looks decent.
Okay, the next query, Kunal, is from Akshay. He entered in Polyplex from the levels of 2200, sitting at a loss, but he's looking for a time frame for investment for the next 2 to 3 years. What will be your advice?
So the stock is going through a very sharp correction. I think the recent charts, the stock was just slowing down the pace of correction, but I think the last 2 days the correction seems to have intensified. I would suggest to wait out as of now, even though the stock is correcting, because it's now nearing very close to its oversold territory. Maybe another 100 points, 150 points odd correction from current levels, and the stock may probably enter into an oversold territory, which may result into a significant bottom formation as well as a bounce for Polyplex. So as of now, would suggest a hold.
Okay, Madhuri wants a fundamental analysis on Mathon alloys and IMFA, that is IMFA, for the long-term investing. However, she's asking how are the charts looking. But I'll take it to you, Shahina, because I believe you'll be able to talk about how the counter is looking like over the short to medium term. That is Mathon alloys as well as IMFA. Either one of them worth investing for the long term?
Sorry, I don't track it.
Then do you track both of them by any chance?
Don't track it regularly, but then I would recommend that you should avoid venturing into these kind of names. Now, the predominant reason is you look at the volumes for these stocks. Now, for Mathon alloys, I think the volumes today are just about some 19,000 odd shares, and so which means that for 1,000 rupees stock approximately, it's a very thinly traded counter. Even for IMFA as well, I think the volumes are very, very small or less as compared to what we ideally look out for. The price trends for both of these stocks are nothing exceptional. IMFA, for example, has been trading significantly below its 200 DMAs since the last 6-7 months. So no major recovery in terms of price. Volumes are a bit low. I would suggest to avoid both the counters.
All right, avoid coming in for both the counters. But on that note, we'll actually slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. When we come back, we'll be back with your queries. So viewers, don't go anywhere.
Making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like
Welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now, and let's keep it going with all your stock queries. And Shahina, coming to you, the next question is from Prabhu, and he wanted to ask this question to Kunal, but I'm taking it from you because it's on one of the recently listed counters, that is AGS Transact. This counter got listed this year itself. He bought it at an IPO price of 170 rupees, and it's now trading at 67 odd rupees. Going forward, do you expect any recovery or any suggestions on averaging out? Shahina, this question is for you.
No, I don't have any update on it.
Okay. Kunal, just on the charts, would you be able to tell him anything?
So, of course, the price history is a bit limited, but then whatever the price history has been indicated, the stock from 180 odd rupees has fallen to 67 in just a matter of, I think, few months itself. Now, that indicates that the trend, of course, is very, very weak for such kind of stocks. Now, I'm not sure if you're looking to buy or add more, but I would, definitely, suggest an avoid on the stock at current levels.
Okay, Geeta has written to us from Dubai, Kunal, and she wants to know whether it makes sense to buy L&T, IndusInd, Bank of Baroda, or even IRCTC at current market price for the long term. Either one of them, what's your take?
So I would recommend IndusInd Bank, out of the lot out of the few names which you've asked, but I would prefer that you try and take advantage of this phase of market correction as well, because in case if the correction gets a bit more aggravated, you might probably expect these private sector banks as well to correct maybe another 5% to 10% on the lower side, depending on the beta nature of the bank. So it's a good strategy to look at buying IndusInd Bank. Because the stock had been an underperformer as such over the last 2-3 months. So I would believe that the correction could be not steep, but shallow into IndusInd Bank whenever the market gets into a corrective phase. Try and take advantage of that correction.
Okay, moving on, the next query is from Subrata Mukherjee. And Shahina, you did touch upon Aurobindo Pharma. He wants to know, is this the right time to buy and enter in this particular counter? And if yes, what should be the likely targets?
I would think so because the stock has corrected a lot. It's been one of the non-performers of last year. And I think from these levels is bottoming it out. It is, of course, the cheapest stock in the sector and has good products, both in injectables as well as in API. So I would buy it, with a decent stop loss of about maybe 400 type of levels and keep it for the longer term.
Okay, this one is coming from Ayush Bharadwaj, and this one is also for you, actually, Shahina. Valiant Organics and JSW Energy has both of these stocks, and he's incurring heavy losses on both of them. He wants to know what should he do. Should he actually book out of these counters or look to accumulate at the current level now?
Well, Valiant Organics, it's been an underperformer, and for the shorter term, and I think he can exit from the stock. And GNS, I think the second one was GNFC. That stock I would continue holding.
Okay, the next query is from Advait and Shahina, once again for you, because he bought Nykaa 1700 shares, but after the stock split as well, the stock is under losses and is at one of the biggest loss makers is in his portfolio. What will be your advice going ahead? Any suggestions on averaging out on this one?
No, I would not suggest any averaging. In fact, I would suggest that he can exit at current levels And if you see a huge correction in the medium term, he could relook at entering, but as of now, no. It's an exit.
Okay, this one's coming from Sagar and he wants a fundamental view on Themis Medicare. He's holding a good chunk, or rather nice chunk as he says, from around 250 odd levels. He wants to know what's your view on this one. Shahina, do you track Themis Medicare by any chance?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay, so he's also, I think he preempted this, so he's given me an alternate query for you. So he wanted to know about Axis Bank. What's your view on Axis Bank, especially in light of after the Citi Bank merger? Do you see growth in that particular counter? Also, he wants to know, will Axis Bank be able to retain Citi clients, that it was an international bank, Axis is a local bank. Also, what's your take on the entire growth prospect of Axis Bank in particular? I think primarily he wants to know after the merger.
Yeah, I think it looks interesting. I would believe Axis Bank will be able to retain and grow its additional consumers that it will get via the Citi acquisition. Valuations are not expensive in terms of 1 year forward price to book is 2 times. While it has caught up in terms of price performance, I still think there is place to go. And while ICICI Bank still remains my top pick, it is slightly more expensive than Axis. So I think one can look at both of them, and even HDFC Bank if you're holding it for the 3 to 5 year period.
Okay, moving on, the next query, let me take it from you, Kunal. That's from Abhimanyu Kohli. He's holding Tata Power from a price of 223. Although in 2022, we did see the stock hitting an all-time high levels, but on a YTD basis, absolutely no returns. But going forward in 2023, what should be the return expectation?
So I would rather go with a very muted kind of expectation for Tata Power. Now, look at it this way. 2020, the stock was at 30 rupees. And in mid of 2021, or I think end of 2021, start of 2022, the stock had almost hit levels of 300. Now, when a stock hits a 9x, 10x kind of a return, you don't expect that the trend would continue for a prolonged period of time. The stocks are bound to get into a time-wise correction. At times, the correction could last for not just in a few months, but even for a couple of years. So I would believe that Tata Power is going into that phase. In this phase, ideally what you should be doing is trying to have a price point zone where you should look to buy or accumulate. Now, I believe that closer to 185 odd levels would be a very good level to accumulate Tata Power. So in case if the correction elongates and the stock comes back towards 185, 190 mark, that could be a point where you can look to accumulate or buy Tata Power.
Okay, another one also coming your way, Kunal, HAL. Indumati wants to know whether it makes sense to accumulate HAL at current levels, or what would be the right price to accumulate HAL, because she's already holding some shares at a price of around 2,425 rupees per share.
So you can continue to hold on as of now. This is the first month, at least last few days, indicate that this could be the first month after a series of maybe 5 or 6 straight months that the stock may give a bit of a negative kind of a performance. But then even if the stock corrects, say for another couple of months, comes back towards 2250, 2300 mark, that could be a point where you can look to average. So you can hold on to your quantity as of now. 2250, 2300 is a zone where you should look to buy further.
Okay, moving on, Shahina, the next query is from Karan, and he wants to know your view on IDFC First Bank looking for fresh investments out there, but the stock is seen to be making a U-turn from its high levels. What will be your advice?
Yeah, I think a lot of things have, the balance sheet has been cleaned up in IDFC First Bank. So it does look a bit interesting for the medium to longer term. Better to buy it on dips. I think it would be better if you can buy it somewhere close to about 48 to 50 rupees. Buy it on dips.
This one is for Mr. Balan, and this one is for you, Kunal, and apologies, Mr. Balan. I know we've not taken your queries for a long while now, but he has 500 shares of Lemon Tree, purchased at 85 rupees per share, NHPC at 42 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold both of these counters or look to shift to something else. What's your take on both of these counters, Kunal, Lemon Tree as well as NHPC? Does it make sense to stay put with both?
So I missed the buying price for Lemon Tree.
Lemon Tree is 85. I believe, yeah, 85, yeah.
So I think the stock was doing pretty well till 103 odd levels, but now it's corrected to 76, 77. I would suggest to wait out for a phase of a mild bounce. Maybe the stock comes closer to 82, 84 levels. That's a zone where you should look to book out profits and then look to buy back again, because my belief is that the stock may take some bit of more time to consolidate. It may not be very quick or an immediate kind of rally which could start off for these hotel stocks. And for NHPC, on the other hand, I would suggest that you should hold on to the stock as of now. The PSU rally which started off few months back, I think still looks very strong. Yes, these stocks are going through a correction phase, but I believe that maybe another 5%, 10% correction from current levels for NHPC, say closer to 35, 36 level, is a good zone where you should look to average.
Okay, Kunal, the next query is from Madhusudan Pujara. He wants to know your take on Hemisphere Properties. He bought shares from a price of 95, mild gains, but what will be your advice? Sell or buy more or hold on?
So you can hold on, but then I think if the stock comes closer to today's high or maybe the last 2 days of average price around 112, 113 mark, that could be a zone where you can look to book out profits. When a market gets into a risk-off mode, it always makes it. In fact, it doesn't make sense to hold to high beta stocks. It always makes sense to pair out your gains wherever you're making 10% plus kind of a profit in high beta stocks. It always makes sense to book out the profits over there and then look to buy back again if the stocks come back to your original cost price or below that. So as of now, would suggest a sell on Hemisphere Properties if the stock rallies back towards 112.13 mark.
Okay, this is from Basvaraj and he's holding 300 shares of Thyrocare at the price of 762 rupees per share. What should he do? Book loss or average it? What's your take on this one? Shaina, we did speak in depth about the healthcare space at the start of the show, but Thyrocare in particular.
I would, suggest that he continues to hold. And in fact, after a long time, there is some momentum coming back into the stock. It is, I think, the cheapest in the comparative peer group. So he should continue holding it.
Okay, the next query, Kunal, is from Mohan, and he bought PNB Housing Finance from a price of 435. He's been averaging this out. What will be your advice? Because on a YTD basis, if I see the chart, that's absolutely a U-turn. But going ahead, you expect some returns in 2023.
So the last 2 weeks were very intriguing for PNB Housing. In fact, there was a point where most of these, housing finance companies, GIC, PNB Housing, etc., they saw a very strong rally and it was backed by very strong volumes. Same was the case with PNB Housing as well. But then, of course, the last 2 days, like yesterday and today, the stock has seen a reversal of sorts. My belief is that there could be a bounce in the making still for PNB Housing. So a better level where you can look to exit or book profits since you bought at lower levels would be closer to 500 odd mark.
Okay, that's the take coming in on PNB Housing Finance. But with this, it's time to slip into a short break. But don't go anywhere. Coming right back, we'll be taking up more of your stock queries.
It's not always.
Like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing, and you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
Beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing, and you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and let's kickstart actually with the rapid fire then. And we have our experts Kunal as well as Shahina. And Shahina, first to you. Sravan wants to know about Zomato. He already has some shares at 65 rupees per share. Should he continue to hold, exit, or buy some more for long term?
He can average at lower levels, hold the current holding.
Okay, the next question is for Kunal. Ram wants to know the short-term view on HAL.
I would suggest a hold. Stock may correct towards 2250, 2300 levels. That's a good level where you can look to accumulate further.
Kunal, Mr. Bhatia has Sequence Science and Nippon Life both at 300 rupees per share. What to do and where to switch because he needs to book his losses?
So I would suggest to wait out for maybe some more time, but if the stocks bounce back to any kind of a 10-15% rally, good time to exit.
Okay, Shahina, the next question is from Kaushik. He's holding IRCTC from a price of 870, currently at a loss, but what will be the long-term advice?
Continue holding it. Maybe he can add at dips. It's a good stock.
Okay, Satya from Bangalore has Reliance Futures, 29 December futures, I believe, 2,645. What should he do, Kunal?
As of now, hold, but keep 200 DMA as a stop loss for the trade.
Okay, Shahina, Nitesh has entered into Tata Elxsi at a price of 7,100. He's looking to buy more at the current price. What will be your advice?
I would suggest he waits and buys it at slightly lower levels. The stock is showing a bit of weakness.
All right, Deepika has City Union Bank at the price of 204 rupees per share. Kunal, can she continue to hold?
I would suggest an exit.
Okay, Shahina, Bharat wants to know the take on Federal Bank. He's looking for a fresh investment out here.
I think it looks like a decent stock. He can buy it at any dips.
I have a viewer with the name Gaming Business wants to know about long-term view on Punjab National Bank. What's your take on this one, Shahina?
He should be buying it at dips. PSUs are showing a slight bit of correction, but it looks good for the medium term.
Okay, Kunal, Nand Kumar bought Piramal Enterprise from a levels of 900, currently fallen below 830. What will be your advice?
I would suggest to hold on, but if the stock breaks above that 900 mark back again, that's the time where you should look to average further.
And quickly, let me just take Satya's one last question to you, Kunal. He wants to make hay while the sun shines, so he believes in this dip. What are the value buys that he can look at for a short term, 1 to 3 months?
So I believe sticking to maybe the IT stocks, large cap names could make sense. Infosys is something which I would recommend at current levels. And in case if the PSU banking stocks correct by another 10%, specifically large cap names, that could be a time to accumulate.
All right, with that, we come to the end of the queries as well as the rapid fire. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Shahina, for joining on the show, talking about the healthcare space as well as taking queries. And with that, let me actually kickstart with the news fatafat then. And Prime Minister is likely to chair a high-level COVID review meeting today, this afternoon. That is, this comes amidst a massive surge in COVID-19 cases in the neighboring country, China. Meanwhile, Maharashtra Chief Minister will also chair a review meet before the state cabinet meeting in the evening.
Amid massive COVID explosions in China, the World Health Organization has sounded the alarm, calling it an unprecedented wave. The WHO has reiterated its request for COVID-linked data from Beijing.
And top sources indicate there may soon be an upgrade for Hardik Pandya in the Team India. Pandya is likely to be given the responsibility as captain for both ODI and T20s. The move comes amidst a string of disappointing performances from the men in the blue led by Rohit Sharma.
RRR filmmakers are rejoicing as they progress further in the race of the Oscars. The infectiously catchy song Natu Natu from the blockbuster Telugu film has been shortlisted for the 2023 Oscar Awards in the Best Original Song category.
And I'm sure that song is playing on everyone's mind right now.
Absolutely.
But with that, we come to the end of this edition of Bye Now Sell Now. It's a goodbye from Shrishti, myself, and the team that put the show together. But stay tuned. Market Saloon coming up next with Pankaj and Anisha.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorite.